This is Men's here. This is going to be a little review slash a rant about the T92, which is the Tier 10 American SPG. Just glancing over its stats, HP doesn't matter too much for a SPG, but as you see here, engine power and weight kinda lets you know that the T92 isn't very mobile, which hasn't always been the case. It used to be a pretty mobile SPG. It would get up into the mid 30s as far as kilometers an hour go, which it was only really behind the Batchat SPG as far as mobility goes, which was nice before the artillery changes, but now it's slow as hell. It's about low 20s most of the time. Traverse speed, not exactly too important. Armor, not important. As you see here, shell damage for even any kind of SPG, only the Conqueror kind of ranks up there with the T92, right at 2,250 damage for its HE shell, the premium HE shell, and the AP shell, which is pretty much useless at 1,800. But the main problem with the T92 isn't its damage per shot, nor its rate of fire, but rather the really bad accuracy it has. After artillery is kind of changed, the accuracy went from being somewhat bad to being completely unreliable now at 0.92. It's pretty much you'll go like several matches without actually hitting something directly, and a lot of matches you probably won't even hit something, you'll just barely splash it. And with an aim time of 8 seconds, and combined with the limited left and right movement of the gun, meaning whenever you move your hull, your aiming circle bloom just expands rapidly, and you have to wait a few seconds, up to 8 seconds, just for it to settle back down to the gigantic fully aimed state, since the accuracy is so bad. But pretty much the T92 compared to the Tier 9 M5355, it's not really an improvement. Yes, you gain damage per shot, but yes, you lose a little bit of rate of fire, so it's kind of equal on that part as far as the guns go. But the M5355, its damage is actually usable because its damage, or its accuracy, is much better than the T92, and its aiming time is a bit better, but you also have a limited turret on this that can pretty much cover a lot of the map, just kind of showing you the guns can move left and right about this far, meaning that your aiming circle isn't going to bloom as much because you're not moving your hull, you're just moving that limited turret that you have. So that aiming time of 7 seconds actually feels quite a bit lower, since you're not actually moving your hull like a lot of artillery pieces go. But even looking at the mobility, the M5355 speed limit's pretty high, and it can get into the 50s fairly easily. It's a damn mobile artillery. It's even more mobile than the old Tier 10 T9 or Tier 9 T92, and even Tier 10 before the artillery changes. But it being this mobile, having a more reliable gun, and not really having too many downsides, the M5355 is actually a better Tier 10 arty than the Tier 10 arty, and that's not even factoring in that with the decent accuracy at 0.84, you can actually use this 1,450 damage AP shell with your 241 millimeters of penetration pretty reliably, and you can do quite a bit of damage to tanks, since as long as if you're fully aimed, you can hit them most of the time. Granted, T92 has 370 millimeters of penetration, which can pretty much go through anything it hits, unless if it hits like tracks or doesn't hit any hull armor. But you're actually not really gonna hit people just based on the bad accuracy. However, let's hop into a match here. And as you see, I do run a rammer, a gun laying drive for that bad accuracy, and you don't get vents for this. But with Coda Optics, I put that on my SPGs, a lot of them, just because at 400 V range, I find it a little bit better to have the larger V range than to have the camo, since the camo on this isn't that good. Just going off another little stat too, the shell trajectory, basically how high and how vertical it comes down. It's not too great on the T92, especially compared to something like the Conqueror gun carriage or Conqueror gun carrier. Pretty much it's a lot flatter, meaning you can't shoot over as much obstacles, and it actually feels a lot lower than the T92 before it was nerfed. I'm pretty sure they changed it slightly. So that's yet another knock on the T92. But at least with this map, there's not a ton of hardcover, so that should help me a little bit. I do use a lot of premium rounds for the T92, mainly because you're going to be missing so many shots that I like the extra splash range since it comes in handy. I'm just going to kind of hang out here to begin with. I might pop over to tracks back there if not a lot of people stay on this left side though. I'm just going to kind of move back. If I see a spotter going up the left side, I might aim over there, but it doesn't look like there's going to be many people heading that way. Actually, it looks like we have a lot of people heading that way. Okay. As you see, the gun traverse on this thing is pretty limited as far as moving left and right. And I was kind of hoping that that medium and F2 would spot somebody. I see a tree fell here. So I'm just going to keep my eye out on here since those mediums look like they're going to spot somebody. Although it looks like they kind of crapped out. Okay, people, I thought this left side was gonna move, but now I'm kind of committed to waiting for them to spot somebody. Only because if I aim to the right and somebody gets lit up over here, I'm gonna feel pretty stupid. But that's one of the other minor problems in T92, since you have that very long aim time and bad accuracy. When you reposition to actually aim at something differently, where you're aiming at now, it takes you longer than 8 seconds. It probably takes you 12-15 seconds to actually aim in fully, which is a bit too long to actually hit something if it's moving, especially since it'll probably be unspotted before you actually aim in on it. So actually I'm starting to get pissed off here. I have no fucking idea why these people aren't moving up this left side. They're slowly but surely going up here, but this, like, there we go, fucking finally. Here we go. Ooh, I almost hit him. I actually splashed him. Now I'm gonna have to hide in this little divot just because it looks like we lost a hill. I have no idea what the fuck our left side was doing. They were just sitting there not doing anything. It's like, yeah, I get that there's tanks in front of you and you're a little afraid to move up, but at the same time, you shouldn't have went over there if you're not gonna be aggressive. And that missed him by a lot more than my actual aiming circle. I'm pretty sure I was aiming right here, and it definitely missed him by quite a lot. But as you see, as I was aiming, I got a little tongue-tied there, at D2, the aiming circle is not too bad if you're at your maximum range, to where your aiming circle is more of a circle, but once you flatten out that shell trajectory and it gets flatter, then it's really hard to actually hit things. Now, these people have to frickin' spot something or else we're gonna lose. Let's hope for... There we go. Just barely splashed in. And I'm probably gonna die now. But chalk this up as a really bad team.
This vehicle is heading.
I'll definitely take some of the blame for this. I really thought that that left side would have pushed up quicker, but they did not at all. Let's see what kind of match we get for the next one now. Okay, so let's see if we have a little bit more luck on Pearl River, albeit this map's not exactly good for an arty that doesn't have a very good vertical shell arc, just because a lot of the tanks like to kind of stay on the south or west side of the map instead of going over to the open town over there, which means I kind of have a limited amount of options of hitting them without my shell trajectory being a bit flat. So it's going to be a little bit tough to hit things, so let's see how this goes. Well, I'm just going to kind of set up in the bottom of the base here, just because I'm a bit protected from anybody darting through if they get through quick. I'm gonna aim right here. Oh crap. Maybe they will get spotted pretty early. That prototype looks like a nice target, although he just disappeared. Let's see if they can spot. Fuck it. They're all disappeared. This T-57 is out in the open. Oof! There we go. Finally hit something. Now when you hit something, especially something as weak as the T-57 as far as its top armor goes, you do quite a bit of damage. But as you saw by the earlier match, it's kind of difficult to pull that off regularly. It seems like our team's having a bit of trouble with the middle, so I'm actually going to see if I can't hit this E50. Kinda figured that. Now, I'm not too worried. People are moving into the middle now. Let's see if I can't help these guys out though. That Batchat's gonna have to move eventually. Hit him, hit him!
That was close.
Oh, he moved up just in time. This IS-7 seems to be the next troublemaker for me. Now, as I said earlier, the long reload isn't too bad given the T92's damage potential, but the long reload really sucks when you need to get a shot off, but you just can't help your team in time. It's something where having less damage for the T92 but a higher rate of fire might help it, but at the same time it would definitely need some changes to its accuracy. I'm not really looking forward to having to aim and re-aim, but I definitely need to aim a little bit left. Okay, he just moved there. Hopefully he comes down there. I think I got a decent shot off on him. But instead of... I could move up to where my team is right now, but the safest spot for me is still in the flag. Actually, scratch that. But I don't have enough fucking mobility to move out of here. Thank you, FV, though. Should take a shot there to take out that building. Give that Batchat something else, a little bit less cover to hide behind. I don't think he can run away without dying though, so I should be able to take him out with the next shot. Even though it looks like my team is pulling away, hopefully they don't forget about him too long. It'd be nice if he's still there. And he's not. Thank you, team. I thought they would have kept eyes on him. Lovely. Oh no! Hide! Thank you, FV. Hopefully their arty doesn't hit me. See if I can't hit this prototype. actually hit near where I was aiming for once. But you see, in a match like this, it's kind of hard to aim left, aim right, move where the people are being spotted, which really limits the T92's effectiveness. However, at least my shots are kind of going where I'm aiming, so it hasn't been a lost match. But at the same time, if I was in an M53 or M53-55, I would have been able to hit a lot more people with the higher rate of fire, better accuracy, better turret traverse. It would have been a lot easier for me to actually do damage and be useful.
That was close.
So it's more of a case of how the M53-55 at tier 9 it is a bit good for a tier 9 already compared to other ones, but it's in no way overpowered. It's just, why go to tier 10 to the T92 when it's such a bad artillery compared to the one at tier 9, and it just doesn't really make sense why things are balanced that way. Run away, dude.
That was close.
I thought I would have hit the IS-7, but definitely went right behind him. I thought I would have carried a little closer, but I couldn't shoot farther. I might have hit that 110. Hopefully these guys can draw him out. Holy shit, these guys, if they lose... Come on, dude. Oh my god. I'm probably gonna miss. Ooh, I actually hit him. I was a little surprised at that. Now, this is going to be interesting because the T92 does not have much gun depression to work with. You can't actually aim down. As you see, that's as far as the gun goes down, to shoot tanks that are trying to kill you up close. Just trying to move somewhere where he doesn't really expect me to be. Hopefully he's coming down here quick and I can catch him off guard. Oh shit. No! Charge!
Everyone get out.
But yeah, T92, it definitely cannot pull off shots like that. Not only can you not aim down enough, but with your aim time and accuracy, you definitely cannot hit a tank that quick. Anyway though, it still did a decent amount of damage at 3,379, but I have no fucking clue what those people were doing at the end. Two tanks should have easily been able to kill that IS-7, especially with its HP values, but words can't explain. Like, yeah, I could have moved throughout the match to try to get in a better spot to help them, But at the same time, as I was kind of saying, whenever you move into T92 or aim somewhere else, you basically take yourself out of the match for over 10-15 seconds, if not more, since you have to settle in, you have to aim, your aim time's long, your accuracy sucks. So it's just a really wonky SPG, and it's so unreliable it doesn't make sense to actually play. And as you see here, I fired 11 shots, I only hit 2 people directly, and I only splashed 4. So is it really worth it to play a SPG like this? And I was using all gold shells, which, as you'll see here, the primary HE round, the burst radius is 8.13, and the premium is 11.64, which you pretty much need because you miss your shots by so much. You need that extra splash radius. If you play with the 8.13 splash radius, you'll be really frustrated because a lot of the shots that I missed, but I still splashed people for a couple hundred damage, you won't do any damage at all there. But anyway, this is a little rant over, since the T92 was a very good artillery to play. It wasn't broken. Yeah, it sucked if you hit someone directly and one-shot them, but it was still pretty balanced. Now it's just frustrating to play, along with other artilleries, and it would be really nice if they would figure out a way to balance artillery without just pretty much throwing it to the curb and just making it frustrating to play for everybody. But anyway, thanks for watching my video. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel and check out my website, wotguru.com.